Thank you guys for tuning into another video. We got some interesting stories for you today. We've got a Canada man filing a lawsuit to have his balls waxed. Young leftists want to cut out their Christian parents from their kids' lives. The young Turks continue to be a skid mark on the pants of every social media platform they use. And another black man killed doing nothing, hurting no one. I'm Anthony, and this is Allow Me to Retort. Hey guys, thank you for tuning into another video. So we've got a lot of interesting stuff to cover today, but first I'd like to say thanks a bunch to everyone who supported my last video. I got a lot more attention. I think it's my highest watched video, something like 300 views on it. Lots of comments and lots of people said that they just subscribed after they just found the channel. So I'm super happy about that. Keep it up, keep subscribing. I'll keep bringing the good content, and whether you like it or not, comment, subscribe, thumbs down, thumbs up, whatever. I'm all about having interaction with the people, so let's keep it going. Earlier this month, British Columbia Human Rights Tribunal held hearings on whether or not female beauticians should have to wax male genitalia. Jonathan/Jessica Yaniv is a self-identified transgender lesbian woman who's filed 16 different complaints against estheticians last year. She would call around and ask people to give a Brazilian wax and then show up and then explodes, bam, I've got balls. And then when they refused to wax them, she would rant and call them transphobic, try to sue them and shut them down. Sketchy things, including trying to host a pool party where people were going to be topless from ages 12 and up, and parents were not allowed to attend this event. This is a tweet directly from their Twitter. I can't believe the youth all body swim was shut down due to threats from anti-LGBTQ. They are awful people. Highlighted, for participant privacy and safety, parents and or caregivers are not permitted to the event. Why on earth does there need to be a topless party for people ages 12 to 24? And even if this thing did exist, why on earth do you think no parents should be allowed to the event? Who's going to chaperone this thing? Is it just going to be you, Jonathan? He's also had extremely disturbing contact with young girls. He's been online asking them how to use tampons. He's been seeing very interested in trying to get into young girls' changing rooms and young girls' locker rooms on Facebook, a group that was started for young teenage girls or something like that. Somehow he infiltrated it, and he's been harassing multiple different young girls. They all come forward eventually and screenshotted it after this started to pick up traction and try to expose him for the creepy, disgusting pedophile he is. If a young girl wants a tampon, should I give her one and instruct her on how to use it? The person says, I don't know. If her mom's around, you should find her. If not, maybe yeah. And they says, what would I tell her? Would I like go in the stall and help her? It sounds so weird. On April 29th, he goes to send this. I think my period is going to start on Wednesday when I'm traveling to Victoria on the ferry, and my first day is usually very heavy. Remember again, this is still a person who has the male genitalia. So what period he's talking about, I have absolutely positively no idea. This is the kind of disturbing world that we're living in, where these people's delusions are allowed to run unchecked and rampant, and then they start to infiltrate and influence our children. Luckily, these girls here were smart enough to screenshot and share this, and it seems like he hasn't actually had any victims. But this guy is definitely creepy, and this is the kind of thing they always try to say, oh, it's not about sexualizing the children, it's just about being free, whatever like that. This is delusional. This man's sick and he needs help, and honestly, this person may be beyond help. This person may need jail forever, just to be put away and kept away from society, because this is just disturbing on so many different levels. I've got an article from the Huffington Post. You've got Hannah Sillinger, who writes, it might be time to cut out my right-wing Trump-loving in-laws from my kids' lives. She basically goes on to write about her grandparents or her kids' grandparents on her husband's side, and says that they've always been conservative and Christian, and she's tried to ignore it as if it's a bad thing. But then she goes on to say now it's getting out of hand since Trump has become president. She goes on to say once her 1-year-old threw a temper tantrum. She calls her son a drama queen, and the grandma says, "Oh, it's drama king." And that prompted her to go off and type furiously for Huffington Post and write this article about how horrible it is to call a young boy a drama king for throwing a temper tantrum. She also mentions that they comment on that the United States has an abortion problem, and that just absolutely disgusts her to call abortion a problem, because I guess she wants people going out and having meaningless sex and producing children from it and then subsequently killing those children. I guess that's the kind of thing that she's all about. She also mentions later on in the article, my father-in-law chuckled in a scene in the movie Moonlight. A black drug dealer pulled up in a decked out lowrider. It was an expensive car, and my father-in-law wanted us to know that's the sort of spending of their means that they do. That's just what they do, he said, shaking his head. That's just what they do. He meant black people, all of them. Now, I find this really funny that she could read his mind, because she never says that he says that's just what black people do. For all we know, he could have been talking about drug dealers, which maybe I'm being blatantly optimistic here, but I think that's what he meant. When you see a drug dealer pull up in a lowrider, they're drawing a lot of attention to themselves and they're doing illegal activity. I think that's very stupid, and it is something that they often do. They can't keep a low profile, which is exactly why they get subsequently arrested and then try to pull guns and get shot by the cops. And they never did anything and never hurt anyone. Nowhere else in the article does she point out anything he said towards black people or about black people that were racist. She just points out a drug dealer who showed up in a low-riding, decked-out car, and he says that's just what they do. And then she says he meant black people. I think she's projecting her own stereotypical racism onto him. He never said anything about black people. She heard the comment and immediately thought he means black people, all of them. So I think this woman who has some problems with being tolerant because she can't tolerate her own husband's parents is obviously projecting her intolerance onto him, because deep in her mind, despite the fact that she tries to champion for African Americans and champion for minorities, obviously she still associates comments with that's just what they do, meaning lowriders and being drug dealers. She associates that with all black people. This is another attempt by the left to destroy the family unit. What they want more than anything is to rip apart our families, because when there's this kind of division, when the division starts right in the home, it's very easy to get in and influence the young children. So obviously what she's trying to do is, instead of having her kids grow up and hear both sides of the story, opinions coming from the left and the right, she wants to cut off the right side so that she can have ultimate control over her child's thoughts and mold them to be these little left-wing activists that she wants to grow up and be. She wants them to think that two men kissing on TV is beautiful and brave and should be praised forever, and she thinks abortion should be just talked about like it's the best thing since sliced bread, I guess. Apparently we don't have an abortion problem in the United States. We need more abortions. We need more frivolous sex that results in pregnancies. That's what the United States needs more of, and that's not a problem at all. So that's what she wants. Some of the people who claim to be the most inclusive right here write an article about excluding their own family for not thinking the same way that they think. My very first video ever was a 20-minute long video where I responded to Young Turks, basically spreading lies and hating America, and now I come right back to the same steaming pile of anti-American crap. That is the same guy who got this very channel started. Hasan Piker, doing a live stream on a video sharing website, said America deserved 9/11. And no, that's not a misquote or paraphrase. You can see the clip right here.
America deserved 9/11, dude. Fuck it, I'm saying it.
We're there to partner with them. We're not there doing our own thing. We're there partnering. And
tell me how I can take that out of context, but we'll go on. He went and backpedaled and said the reason he said America deserved 9/11 was because we funded governments that had terrorists in them, we've sold arms to them, and that is why 2,996 innocent Americans deserve to die for something they had nothing to do with. 2,996 people definitely deserve to die for no reason whatsoever. He's a brilliant man, the Young Turks are. This man probably wouldn't even have a job if his uncle didn't own the news network that he's on. Talk about privilege. They love to brag and talk about white privilege and how it's evil and horrible thing, but here it is right in our face. He didn't get fired. He didn't get wrote up, no suspension. He didn't even have to release an apology. He went on the show, The Young Turks. His uncle asked him about it and said he made a bad joke, and then they washed it, they swept it under the rug. On top of making that horrible joke that he claims it was, he also took that same very live stream and used it to attack Dan Crenshaw, a war hero who lost his eye on one of his tours. He had this to say about Dan Crenshaw.
What the fuck? What the fuck is wrong with this dude? Didn't he go to war and like literally lose his eye because some mujahideen, a brave fucking soldier, fucked his eye hole with their dick? Isn't that how he lost his fucking dumbass eye? Because he got his fucking eye hole fucked?
An American citizen making fun at an American war hero who almost died trying to protect the freedom of speech, which this man has right here. The freedom to go out and say horrible things about a man who lost his eye while serving in the military. And instead of apologizing for that, he went on to say something like, being in the military doesn't guarantee you respect. It shouldn't, and it doesn't. So that's Hasan Piker. So if you ever see a Young Turks video, remember to immediately just keep scrolling. Don't watch it, don't share it, because they're full of crap, they're full of lies, and they are very anti-American. And once again, the exact number I tell you guys is 2,996 people died on September 11th, 2001. And this man thinks that is justified. And lastly, I have a horrible, unjustified killing of a black male, because those are so rampant in 2019. You can read some reactions of the short, out of context clip taken from a doorbell cam on Twitter. Another black man killed for no reason. You actually see the murder, and you really want me to feel sorry for any of those murderers? Colorado Springs police body camera video shows the police shooting Devon Bailey 8 times in the back as he ran away. This is murder. Warning graphic. Colorado Springs police fired 8 rounds at Devon Bailey. He never pulled his weapon. Police didn't discover he had a weapon until he lay on the ground bleeding to death. This is straight up murder. I want to reiterate at this point, the murder of Devon Bailey by Colorado Springs police. Running from the police is not punishable by death. Mayor of Colorado refuses to act. And here you can see the video that they're all reacting to. This is a doorbell cam footage that shows very few seconds of the incident. Dang, they killed that innocent boy for nothing, and there's no evidence he was a danger or a criminal at all. Snap back to reality. Oh, there goes tragedy. Oh, there goes Ant. He drops the facts magically. Actually, there is full body cam footage and a 911 call.
There's these 2 black guys. One of them has a gun. They approached me to like, what's in your pockets, and like, I'm basically like, at first, like, I was startled, so I really was like, nothing, but I didn't say it like out of fear or nothing. Then then one of the guys started hitting me, and I fall down to the ground. Another guy pulls out the gun, and he's like, "You better tell me what's in your pockets."
What type of gun?
I don't know. It was like a Glock 23, something like that. It was definitely a Glock.
Okay. And where are the weapons now?
They're on the people who did this to me.
Wow, that suspect was able to describe the gun and just told the dispatcher that the person who robbed him was armed and probably still had the gun with him. So what that says is that the cops should be looking for an armed and dangerous person who's not afraid to use the gun, because they already used it once in order to rob this man.
What's going on today? All right. What are your names?
What's the reasoning?
All right. So we got a contact that keep your hands out of your pockets.
Oh,
So you notice right there, Devon Bailey, the guy with the shirt on that has the happy face on it, he reaches right into his pocket immediately when the cop pulls up, and the cop warns him, keep your hand out of your pockets.
That keep your hands out of your pockets.
Oh,
A possible assault that occurred?
Oh, I didn't touch it.
Okay. What's your name?
Devon.
Devon? What do you go by?
I just go by Devon.
Do you go by Spaz?
No, sir.
Okay. Put your hands up for me a sec. Put your hands up. Right. So we got a report of 2 people, similar descriptions, possibly having a gun, all right? So don't reach for your waist. We're going to just check and make sure that you don't have a weapon, all right?
All right, once again, you've got another fair warning from the police officer. He tells them both to put their hands up, and he says, we got a description that matches you guys. Somebody may have a gun. So do me a favor and do not reach for your pockets or put your hands down until we check to make sure you don't have a gun. This is textbook warning here. This is clear as day. They were forewarned not to do anything stupid because the cops believe somebody has a gun. His friend looks at Devon. You know who you don't want to commit a crime with, because this guy's going to get you caught. He couldn't hold water in a bucket. This guy here is looking dead at his friend, giving away. And if I'm an officer and I'm surveilling the situation, when I see that head turn over to Devon when I mention gun, and this guy nervously looks over at his buddy, the same buddy who was reaching in his pocket when I first pulled up, there's a problem here.
Weapon, all right? Hands up! Hands up! Hands
It looks like this guy got shot trying to run away, but you got to look at the whole entire picture. This is someone who's just committed an armed robbery with a firearm, so that means they're not afraid to use said firearm because they've already used it in a forceful manner, threatening someone's life, as we heard from the previous 911 call. We show up, we've got the cops warning the guy, don't reach for your pockets, keep your hands in your air, because we heard that someone around here has a gun and you guys match the description. We're going to pat you down to make sure you don't have a gun, to make sure everybody goes home safe. The second officer comes around to pat Devon down, and he immediately takes off running. And in the process of him taking off running, you can clearly see in this clip right here that he reaches in his pocket, probably in an attempt to pull out said gun. Now, was he going to toss the gun? That's probably highly unlikely because he's in the broad daylight on the street with cops right behind him. So tossing the gun would do him no good. The only reason he would have for reaching in his pocket to get that gun is to defend himself, to escape, which is what he was trying to do. Colorado gives officers permission to use deadly force if they think a criminal who has just committed a felony is in possession of a firearm and may use it to cause direct harm to someone else or themselves. They have every reason to believe that because this man has already used that firearm to threaten to create harm to someone else in the process of robbing them. He's now in a potential where he's trying to not get caught. This man doesn't want to go to jail, so he's reaching in his pocket to do whatever he can to not go to jail, including probably popping off some shots at these officers here. So when they shot him in his attempt to flee while reaching for his gun, by Colorado law, is completely justified. But once again, you've got people from the peanut gallery looking at short clips from videos taken out of context and yelling Black Lives Matter. Does this man deserve to die? No, it's not for us to say. We don't get to choose who lives and who dies. But it's all about self-defense. And these cops are put in a split decision when this man could have reached in that pocket. Oh, they should have waited to see what was going to happen. He could have reached in that pocket those extra 2 seconds and pulled out that gun and popped off some shots. And that would have been the end of the story for an innocent man who's just trying to do his job and keep the people safe. Why should this man who's done nothing wrong today, this man who's going to work and doing his job trying to make an honest living, why should he risk his life further than what his job already requires in order to protect the life of this hoodlum who just robbed and threatened someone with a firearm? Makes no sense to me. But anyway, that's my opinion. That's the story. Once again, comment, like, and subscribe, whether you think I'm wrong, whether you think I'm right, whether you hate my face and I'm a racist Uncle Tom. Doesn't matter. This is Anthony, and this is Allow Me to Retort.